Hi guys, I said I would produce a video just giving an indication of how you might lay out your timeline for this little project. Now, I've said this many times and I feel obliged to say it again. I do not want anyone to copy exactly what I'm doing here because it defeats the purpose of doing a creative class. You can all come up with as many different ways of doing this as you want. Find something that you like the look of. It doesn't have to be on a gradient background. It doesn't have to be on a television. The television doesn't have to be sitting on a TV stand. You can do this on the side of a barn or out in space or underwater or whatever you want to do. Just please don't copy this exact method that I'm doing. Come up with your own. The other thing I wanted to say is, and this is, you're probably sick of hearing it, is that if this hasn't clicked for you yet, and I know for some students it has, I've already gotten samples of their work. If it hasn't clicked for you, normally speaking, it's because you haven't been putting the hours in. If you want this to click, you're going to have to put some hours in outside class. You won't get it any other way, unfortunately. Now I know I've said that, I'm saying it again. So let's just have a look at what I have here, okay? So here's my layers. Okay, so I have a layer here for logos. Now I can just hide it and show it to you. That's it there. Basically, it's my logo, the college logo, and the DDLHB logo, which we're obliged to have. Before I start doing anything, the first thing I'll do is delete that layer because it's not required for what I'm doing. I've got an action script layer, which is contains one small piece of text for a single button we're going to be using. I've got a layer for the TV. That's the actual TV itself. You see it appearing and disappearing. I have a layer for the TV image. So if I bring back the TV, you'll see there's the TV stand or the TV. And there's the image in behind it. I have a layer for the buttons, and you'll see there's the home button, the backwards button, and the forwards button. At the moment, they're not buttons, they're just images, but they'll become buttons. I have an image for the TV, a layer for the TV stand. I've one for the character voice, but I don't have any character voice. I've one for the character itself, and I have that one called wall. Originally, it was a wall, but it was too... it was conflicting with the foreground images, so I changed it to a simple gradient. So that's my layers, right? Now, I'm going to go over here to my library, and don't be intimidated by this. If you've collected all of your assets and all of your resources and your images and your graphics and all of that stuff, this won't intimidate you. If you haven't done any work, this probably will intimidate you. So look what I have here. I've basically made a folder. You make a folder, look down here, you hover the mouse over that, it's this new folder. You can name it whatever you want. Into that folder, I just put my 3 buttons. There they are. Simple as that. Just to tidy them up. I've got one for the character head. I just leave that out on its own. In the content folder, I've put the images I'm going to be using. Okay, and we'll come into those in a few moments. And then other than that, I've got my gradient background. There's my 3 logos. I'll be deleting those soon. I have one for the TV and one for the TV stand. Okay, so that's all I have really. Okay. Now, what I want to do is, just for the purpose of this, is I want this stage here to have one active button. It's going to be this one. And when I click on that button, what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring me to a frame. We've done frames and we've done moving between frames using buttons. I wanted to bring me to a frame which starts a very short animation. And in that animation, I want to lose the TV stand, lose the TV, and then I want that image there where it says a new history of animation. I want that to turn into 10 other images, right? So that they'll all become individual buttons that we can click on. Now I won't be going any further than that, because if you can do that, you can do all of the rest of it. Okay, I'm going to bring us just to that first stage. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is, firstly I want to turn this into a button. Okay, at the moment it's just an image. If you go to properties, you'll see that it's just a bitmap, and that's fine. But I want to control that with my action script. So let's have a look at the action script. So at the moment, we've gone through this code many times. This action script is going to listen out for a button called go to menu underscore btn. So I'm going to copy that because I'm going to use it now. Very generic function called go menu, and it's going to bring me to a frame label called menu. Okay, so when somebody clicks on this button, it's going to go to a frame label called menu. That's the function of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is right click on this button, and I'm going to convert it to a symbol of type button, and I'm going to paste in that name, go to menu underscore btn. I'm going to say okay. I'm immediately going to go over to my properties and also paste it in as the instance, because the instance, not the menu button itself, we've said this, but the instance is what ActionScript goes looking for. So I now have a button called go to menu underscore btn, and that's fine. Okay, now that's going to bring me to a frame label called menu. Okay, now I don't have one of those at the moment, and it is important that it moves me from this frame to another frame, because at the moment we're stopped here. Look at the action script, we're stopped. We want to start an animation, and that animation must begin on another frame, and in this instance it's on a frame called menu. So let's create that now. I'm going to select, look at this, I'm going to click and drag frame 2, and I'm just going to press F6, okay? And it's going to basically duplicate all of those frames, all of those images on those layers, right? So I have a brand new frame here. So I'm going to click on the ActionScript layer on frame 2, and I'm going to type in the name menu. Well, I'm going to paste it in. Okay. So now at this stage, when we're here and we're stopped and somebody clicks on this button, it will bring us to here. And that's perfectly fine. Okay. So what that's going to do is it's going to bring us to a frame where the animation begins. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to come all the way down here to frame 50. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag and select all of those. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to click on frame. Now I haven't clicked on keyframe this time, I've clicked on frame because there's some things here that I want to animate, right? So let's start with this and let's just see how we go, right? So the first thing is we want to move this TV stand off the stage when we start. So I've clicked on it there. So I'm going to right click in here and I'm going to go to create motion tween and say okay. Click on the last frame and I'm going to drag that down off the stage. So that's gone. Here we go. Now, I also want to click on the TV itself and get that out of there because the TV is only just there as a prop. So I'm going to click on the TV itself, the TV layer. I'm going to right click and go create motion tween and say okay. Sorry, clicked on the frame. Pardon me. Okay. So we only want the second one basically to become a motion tween, and that's right. We don't want it to be from the first frame, only the second frame. So that's fine. So on the second, on the last frame of that, I just want to click it and drag it off the stage. So look what's happening when we start from here. We're going to click on the button, it's going to bring us to here, and straight away the unwanted portions that we don't want are leaving the stage, and that's very good. Now I was going to delete the logos, okay, but what I might actually do to the logos is just get rid of all the logos in one go. Right click, create a motion tween, say okay, and all of those 3 logos, what we'll do is let's just shove them up. So we're going to click on the last frame and we're going to drag them up out of our way. Okay, so let's see what's happening now. So now we're going to get to here. We're going to lose the TV off to the left. We're going to lose the TV stand down to the bottom, and all the logos are going to go up to the right. So at this stage, we have almost everything off the stage that we don't want. Now, what we do have, unfortunately, is this image, and we want this image to become 10 other images. Now you might say, how the hell are we going to do that? Now we could, if we wanted to, introduce 10 more layers to bring in 10 more images, but the problem with that is it will automatically clog up our main timeline, and we don't want to do that. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to nest some images inside this image. So pay close attention to this because this is going to govern a lot of the other animations that you're going to do. Now not on this first layer, but on the second layer, right? We're going to click on the TV image, and that's that one. Okay, now we're just going to hide the TV frame temporarily. Okay, so we're clicking on the second frame of the TV image. This is very important. We don't want to mess with this very first one. We want it to be in the second one because this is where our animation actually begins. Okay, right, so TV image, the second one. Now, so you can see there's a little blue outline there. So I'm going to right click on that and I'm going to go convert to symbol. And this time what I want it to be is I want it to be a movie clip. And I'm going to call it images. And we say okay. Okay, now here's where it gets freaky. I'm going to double click on that image. And we're inside it now. Now everything else is grayed out because we're now inside this image. So everything else here, if you look up here in our hierarchy, scene 1, images. We're inside the movie clip called images, which is inside scene 1. So here we are. So I'm going to double click on, so this is the image here on this layer. I'm going to double click on this and I'm going to call it history. So we know which one it is. Okay, now what I want to do now is I want to bring in all of my other images into this layer, right? So I'm going to go over to the library, I'm going to expand out my content, and there they are. Now I made all of these exactly the same size by doing it in Photoshop. There's a video up online. So how many have I got? I've got the history of that. That one's already there, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so let's make a few more layers here. And I'm going to drag the history one up to the top. And I'm going to name these. And I'll do this live while I'm doing this, okay? So I'm going to call this 3D animation. The next one is called cell. I'll just call that cell. The next one is flipbook. I'm going to call that flipbook. What's the next one? The next one is frame burst. Oh, well, it would be if there wasn't a T in it. The next one after that is called gameplay. Isometric. Isometric. Let's go back with isometric. Okay. Now after that we've got Steamboat Willie. Steamboat will do. On to the next one, stop motion. On to the next one, and we have history. That's already there. We've got Lumiere Brothers. Lumiere. Okay, and the last one that just happens to be here is called Zoetrope. Okay, so that's okay. That's fine. So we have those. Get rid of that. We don't need it. Okay, so we have these here. So let's drag them all in. So I'm going to click on that first one, 3D animation. And what I want to do is I want to position it exactly in behind the top image. Now you'll see those little white lines. They'll tell me when I'm aligned to the other image. That's fine. Click down here on cell. Drag that in. I'm going to drag that in behind as well. So I want them all basically to be stacked in behind each other. I'm going to drag in flipbook. Ooh. I want to flip that in like that. Now, frame burst. Now these might not necessarily be in the order that you want to tell them in. You're doing the history, so chronologically that might be the best way to do this. But it's entirely up to you how you want to do it, right? Okay. Now, isometric. Okay. Steamboat. Again, I understand this may be painful to watch, but it's one long video that you can just watch over and over and over and over. Who needs Home Alone and Die Hard on Christmas Day? Well, probably everybody, in fairness. But today, it's this. And Zoetrope is the last one. Okay. So, what I now have is each of those images on each of those layers. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to my scene 1 for the moment, and I've seen that it's actually 50 frames long. So, that's fine. So, I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to make a frame on each of these layers. At frame 50, I'm going to insert a singular frame, right? And one at a time, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to right click and go create motion tween and accept. I'm going to do it again on all of these, right? I can click anywhere inside the frame range and do that because I want to do this. I'm basically doing these in a batch, essentially. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because when we click next on our main on a little arrow that's going to bring us into our animation, I want all of these images to sprout out of nowhere from behind the main image, and I want them all to be resized and lay themselves out. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're back up here on the very top one of these. I clicked on the last frame, click on that and I go modify, transform, scale, and I want to bring that image down to a kind of comparable size like so, right? Maybe a bit more. Whoa. Maybe a bit more, depending what we do. That's kind of okay. Now, I have that selected. Now, without doing anything else, I'm going to click on the very next layer to select the image in behind it, and the grab bars are still activated, and I'm just going to keep resizing it till it snaps to the first one. Now, this is what I mean working in batches. And if I do that every time, they're all automatically going to snap to the size of the first one if I drag them carefully. Okay. Now, I keep on going. And again, I understand it's painful watching this in real time, but there's no point in having it all done and saying, here, do that. Keep on going. And they will all snap to exactly the same size. Said he doing one that didn't look like it snapped to the same size. Okay, so we have them there now. Okay, now I can now click on the first one and drag it to here. Now I think there's 10 of these, so I'm going to just see what way I can do this. You can, now you'll see the animation, our lines are already beginning to turn up. And that one should go there. And I'm going to pull this one out of the way, it won't cause a problem. So I want to drag this one down here, and this one down here, and that one down there. Now, here's one. I'll just throw this one here. Don't forget, working in thinking fourth dimensionally, those logos will be gone by the time this all happens. So what I might do is take this one and throw it here, and then take this one and put it down here. Now, I would not regard them as being in any way symmetrical. So you might want to lay them out a little bit more evenly. The character's head is going to be there. Now what I could do is actually move the character's head back in real time. So what I'll do is I'll line these up and I'll get a perfect square out of them. And then that will give me these ones here. Okay, so we have them. Right, so now watch this. If I drag that back, they all start all there. They separate out and they lock into place. Now the only thing about it is I need a stop in there. So I'm going to hit a new layer and drag it up to the top. I'm going to call it action script. Action. Right click on the very last frame, put in a blank keyframe, right click again, choose action, and go stop. Oh, of course, if I clicked in, that would be great. Okay, now, so let me see. Okay, so that looks okay. So they're kind of laid out. Now again, bearing in mind that this is going to be gone and the logos will be gone, you could put more in here if you wanted to. I'll put in an animation, I'll bring the head back a little bit. So let's go back to our main scene, right? Now let's just see where we are at the moment. When we're here, we've turned this into a button. What does the action script do? The action script brings us to a frame called, it goes to and plays a frame called menu. Menu goes to here. Now we've no action script there. So what we'll do is we'll go all the way to the very end and we will insert, let me see, it's going to be the action script. So it's going to insert a blank keyframe. And in there, I just want to put stop. Okay. Okay. Now, so we said that we would also bring the character's head back. So let's have a look at that and see. No, get away over there. Now, okay, so there's the character's head. Hold on a second. So here's the character. So what we want to do is we also want the character, again from here, to move back ever so slightly. So I'm going to create a motion tween for the character. And on the very last frame, I just want to pull the head back just a little bit because we know it's going to get in the way. Okay, so let's just try that and see what happens, right? Hopefully we won't get an error because God knows there's very little code in it. So our stage is set up. We have our button. So hopefully this will work. I'm going to click on this. What should happen is the TV stand should drop. The TV frame should go off to the left. The 3 logo should rise. And then the background image should turn into 10. Brilliant. Okay. So it looks like it works perfectly. It looks like the code inside here may not actually have taken. So we're going to go in and just make sure. And that one is, that's correct. And that's okay, right? Okay, so we'll go back up. Let me just make sure everything else is okay. Just the action script, that's fine. So let's just stop there on frame 50. We go back up here. Ah, okay. Oh, there you go. So there's the thing. So what we need is, our action script here doesn't have a keyframe. Maybe I must have, actually that's what happened. I did it by mistake. We go back in here, we type in stop. Now, let's try that once more. This should work first now. So the idea is that it just it clears the stage, sets up our 10 images, which will then turn into buttons to go to other frames. So here we go again. Boom, there we go. Now, so what happens here is we create a brand new keyframe after this. We turn this into button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4, button 5, button 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is. And we let each of those buttons bring us to a new frame. So when we click on this one, it brings us to a frame and it tells us all about 3D animation. We click on this one, it tells us about cell animation, flipbooks, frame burst, gaming, zoetrope, isometric, Mickey Mouse's Steamboat Willie, stop motion, and the Lumiere brothers. They are way out of the order that they happened in. But anyway, the point about it is that you see how it's done. Now, when you're here, on this frame stopped here, we can then put in some code that will allow this button to bring us back to our main menu. So I'm going to do that just so I can complete this, right? So at the moment I'm going to get rid of that. We're on scene 1. We've gotten to here and we've stopped, right? So what I want to do is on this frame, I want to go to my button layer and I want to put some code in on this frame that's going to allow this to bring us back. So let me just see here. All right, okay. So what we'll do is let's take this code that's on this frame. I'll show you how we do this now. So this is the code for this button, which brings us to this frame here. I'm now going to put it at the end and adapt it so it brings us back. So Control C and copy. I want to go on to the action script layer where we have stop. I'm going to type the code in there. Now, so we want to call it, it's going back to our splash page. So let's call it go to splash, right? I understand that sounds ridiculous, but there we go. So we're going to call the button go to splash. We also have to change our function. So we're going to call it go splash. I'll just change that down here as well. Now we haven't named our splash page, so why don't we just call it splash? Whoa, and splash has a P in it. Okay, so our button is called go to splash. The function is go splash, the function is go splash, and the frame label is splash. So let's do that right now while we're here, right? So we right click on the image, and let me just see, actually I'm going to just put an individual keyframe on this. We right click on the image and we're going to convert to symbol, and we want it to be a button, and we want it to have that name, and we go OK, and we immediately go over to our properties and we put it into the instance as well. Now what we have not done is label our very first frame splash, so let's do that. We click on the very first one and we type in SPLASH and we hit enter. Now I'm just going to zoom in to show you that. So the first one is called splash, the second one is called menu. So again, so when we play this, what will happen is it should play, it'll go to here. So sorry, just to show you, this action script goes to and plays the frame labeled menu. Now the frame labeled menu is here, so it gets here, there's no stop on this. It plays the animation, takes everything off the stage, moves back to head, right? Now the reason you can't see the all of the images coming up is because they're embedded inside that one image, and you won't see those because they're in a sub timeline, but we are now they're there. So when we get to here, we then stop, and we now listen out for a click on a button called go to splash underscore BTN. And if I click on this one here, you'll see, there it is, go to splash underscore BTN. Let's click back in. Our function go splash and our function go splash basically amounts to a go to and play the frame label splash. And that will bring us back to here where we have a stop. Okay, so let's try that. Hopefully there'll be no errors or mistakes in it. But if there is, we'll sort them. As it takes. Now this is a 23-minute video. Holy God. Okay. Thank God for the software to pay for. Now, there we go. So let's try it now. So we're going to click on the first one. Excellent. Now what we want to do now is go back. And there we are. Okay. Now it is, quite literally guys, it's that simple. What's the trick? As I've said over and over again, do your research. Get your content. Resize all of your images. Do up the entire stage in Photoshop. Resize everything so it's perfect. Export all of your individual assets and components. Name them so you know where they are. Have a little script for yourself. Record your voice. Get all of this done. The animation should be the last thing. It's actually the most fun because you get to see it coming together. But the animation is the last thing. Get all of your assets. Get your script. Get your research. Get it all done. Everything. And then start making it. Okay. Now, so let's close that down. Okay, so I'm going to save this before save, because I might need to go through it with you guys again tomorrow. Okay, so listen, that's it. We're up on 24 minutes now, so this is a long video for you guys to watch. Hopefully this explains some things for you. It's what I've been saying all along. You need to start with your research. Decide what it is you're going to be talking about. Once you've done that, go and get your images. Once you have all of your images, resize them all, create your stage in Photoshop, export all of those images back out so they're the right size for your stage. When you have all of that done, record your voiceovers, get all of your audio in place. The very last thing you do is the animation. Proper projects require you to do your research and all of your assets first. Okay? Now, any questions on this? You know where I am.